Now. Okay, so good morning, guys. It's Wednesday, May 13th, and what we're going to do today is wrap up the evolution module. Well, actually, we're going to wrap it up beginning of next week, but I wanted to show you what I finished for you in the module so that you can actually just finish it as soon as you want to. Like, you don't have to wait till next week, and that's the point of these modules. Also, one more update. I made a small change on folders as far as organization goes to try to make it a little easier for you. So if you go to your home screen of biology period 4 now, you're going to see that now there's 2 folders that say assignments. It's not to be confusing. It's actually the opposite. I labeled this one assignments prior to COVID-19, meaning that this is everything you did from the first day of school, right, January 17th, when I collected your materials, up until the last assignment you did, which was your notebook and your participation points, right? So that way you don't have to look at, old stuff anymore, right? Because from here on out, we're doing assignments after COVID-19 closure, and it's the ones we've been working on. So it's your DNA stuff, your protein synthesis stuff, the evolution stuff, and then the very last module that I'm going to start next week with you guys is on ecology, which I'm excited to talk about, some animals, some ecosystems. So let's first wrap up evolution, okay? So let's look at what is upcoming. Update on your evolution notes. I finished up finally your chapter 11 evolution of populations notes. Like I had said, there's technically 3 chapters for this. There's a chapter 12, but we're not going to do it, guys. We don't have the time. If we were in class, we could do so much more things, obviously, but being that we're online, I don't want to give you a ton of stuff to read. So what we'll do instead for chapter 12 is I already posted, there's a video we're going to watch on it, and then we'll just have a discussion on it, and that'll be it, okay? Because chapter 12, it's a great chapter. It's all about the geological time scale and how we know the age of the earth and things like that. But I think we can talk about that. I think not having fossils, not having things to show you, because I was going to show you actual fossils and we were going to do a whole thing on fossils, I can't, right? So I'd rather just watch a video on it. We'll talk about it. And then when you take AP Bio, your junior year, hopefully you take AP Bio, guys, you'll learn a lot more about it. But given the state of the world we're in right now, I think stressing you out with another chapter is not going to benefit you. So again, I'll say it for those of you watching this YouTube video, we're not going to do chapter 12. We're only going to do chapter 10 and 11, and that'll cover all of evolution. Okay, so that's the update on the notes. Updates on, I'll skip the assignments for now because that's what we're going to do today. So let me go updates on discussion board. So the discussion board, what we're going to do for this, I'm going to have, would you mind reading us this, please? How about Felipe? Can you read us the discussion board titled Evidence of Evolution? Let me move the page over. Go ahead.
All right. So just the whole thing?
Yeah, just the highlighted
as you
part.
Read, as you read and watch the latest tweets, blogs, videos, and news sources, news on science, you notice that a recent editor of a non-science publishing company posted an article about evolution. Since you're and Mr. T's amazing on biology, you're naturally curious as you becoming an expert in science and evolution theory. You feel compelled to reply to this editor.
And then would you read us, please, Melissa, the highlighted part that follows?
The first 4 sentences of their article reads, "There is no way that evolution happened. It is something that scientists made up. There is no proof that evolution ever happened. How can we know what happened millions of years ago?" After reading the whole article, you feel that it is your scientific responsibility as a scholar to write a letter to this editor to provide facts, analysis, and insight about evolution to the public. Students will write a 1-paragraph letter on this discussion board.
Okay, and on that discussion board, can you read us, please? How about Thanos, what I just highlighted, starting with number 1?
Wait.
Starting with number 1, please.
Begin the letter. Dear editor, Write one paragraph, at least 5 to 6 sentences about how scientists know that evolution happens all around us and has changed life. In your paragraph, use the following word bank words at minimum as part of your explanation.
And can you read?
Evolution
Uh-huh.
and natural selection.
Can you read all of them, please, Thomas?
Variation, adaptation, comparative anatomy, embryology, DNA, and fossils. At the end of your letter, sign it with your full name. Students will comment, react, debate, question, opinionate, discuss by responding to at least 2 other students' answers with specific and cited evidence to support answers. See attached discussion mark grading rubric to see how you will be graded.
Okay, good. So pretty simple assignment. You're just going to write a letter using these words to defend your answer at minimum, meaning you can include words that aren't in here, like, for example, genetics. You can include words in here that that I mentioned or that we're going to read about today, or just anything that you remember from previous modules. Like, you could bring up proteins, right? You can bring up lots of things, mutations, cells, whatever you want, but at least these words, okay? And as usual, just talk to 2 other students about what they replied. And when you're replying, make sure that you are including actual evidence. Okay, so that'll be the discussion board. So I put that for this Friday, but like I said, I know that this week has been a tough week for you guys studying. So I'm going to push this assignment back a little bit. I'm thinking like Monday or so, just to give you the weekend, because you have nothing else. Like we're done with this module. So if you want to do it now, go ahead. But I was thinking of pushing back this module a little bit. Okay. Any questions about the module? Thumbs up if you're okay with the module and you understand it. Thumbs up if you get it. Okay, so Cynthia, Christian, good. Melissa, good. Jaime, Felipe, Thomas. All right, cool. All right, so that's the module. The next assignment is your last assignment. That's the summative assessment. So for this one, I was going back in my head, like back and forth with ideas as to whether or not I should have you do the same thing where you read an article and then make me another PowerPoint or video. But I was like, that's going to get kind of boring, kind of redundant. So I changed my mind. We're not going to do that. We're going to do something that I think will be a little bit more creative and a little bit more fun. So this summative assessment, let's look at it, that I put for May 22nd. So you have a while for this one. I'm calling it Natural Selection Simulation at Home. Let's read it together and let's talk about it. I even recorded you a video of me doing it for you so you can see what I plan on having you guys do. And if you think there's any issues with you not doing it, let's talk. And then maybe you can just make me an alternate presentation, okay? But let's go ahead and read it together. So if I could have maybe Alexa, can you read us the first paragraph for the summative assessment that I have due for May 22nd? Called Natural Selection Simulation. Can you read us the first paragraph, Alexa?
Okay. Students will demonstrate at home how natural selection can lead to evolution over time by simulating how various predators can catch and eat their prey. For this at-home activity, you will use knives, forks, and spoons to represent 3 different predators, and you can use any supplies to represent the 3 prey populations they will catch, such as beans, beads, cotton balls, buttons, or candy. The 3 animal types, knives, forks, and spoons, will compete with one another for their food.
Okay. So again, I know it sounds kind of silly, but you're going to simulate or demonstrate rather how a predator can catch a prey. But as you can see, like Alexa just told you, you're going to use 3 different predators. In this case, it's going to be knives, forks, and spoons. I'm assuming and hoping that you guys have all these materials. If not, just shoot me a message and we'll figure it out. But you're going to use 3 different predators to catch 3 different prey types. And like Alexa told you, this is just an option, right? For your DNA model, a lot of you guys use cotton balls, you use candy. So I'm trying to use the same materials that you use for that model. If you don't have those, talk to me. Maybe you have Legos, maybe you have erasers, something, okay? So you're gonna demonstrate how these animals can catch each other. And the reason we're going to do this is not just because it's a demonstration of natural selection, which you'll see in a bit, but it also relates to ecology, which we're going to start talking about very soon. Can you read us the next, how about 2 paragraphs, Noemi?
For the first part of this assignment, you will record yourself using only one utensil at a time for 30 seconds to capture food and keep track of your data on the data sheet provided. You will repeat this procedure 5 times. For the second part of this assignment, you will create a graph based on the data found on your data sheet for your 5 trials to answer the following questions.
Good. And so at the bottom, guys, here is the data worksheet. So let's go ahead and take a look at it together. So for the data worksheet, like Naomi said, the first part is you just have to record yourself doing this stuff. And the second part is filling out this data worksheet. So here's the data worksheet. As you can see here, it tells you, like Noemi said, you're going to use one utensil at a time, okay? And you're going to do this 5 trials, 30 seconds in length, okay? So let's say I do trial 1, and I'm going to use my spoon first. So just indicate, okay, I use the spoon. Then you're going to list the name of the prey. So for me, like I said, I'm going to use whatever I have at home. So it can be beans, it can be candy, it can be cotton balls, whatever. You're just going to list the 3 different preys you used and indicate for each trial which of the utensils you use. But make sure throughout the 5 trials that you mix it up, okay? So you're going to keep track of how many of each prey there were. So let's say for me, let's say I used beans, okay? And then for number 2, let's say I use pasta. And then for number 3, let's say I use cotton balls. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. And I want you to record how many you began with. So let's say I had 10 of these, 10 of these, and 10 of those, okay? And then in those 30 seconds, which I'm going to show you in my video, so you know how to do it, you're going to indicate how many you captured. So let's say I captured 1 of those, I captured 3 of those. I'm just making these numbers up. And let's say I captured all of them. And then obviously you're just going to do the math here and then tell me how many are left, right? So 0, 7, 9. Does that make sense, guys? How to fill out the data table? Thumbs up if this, okay, it's very self-explanatory. Okay, so you're going to fill out this data table and you're going to use that data for the next part. So like Naomi told you, you're going to use that to create a graph. So whatever graph you think works for you, there's only a few obvious choices. So I'm not going to tell you which one to use because, again, this is an assignment. So if you get stuck, if you don't know which graph to use, just message me and I'll help you figure it out. But I think you guys are smart enough to know what kind of graph you can use to indicate this. But once you have recorded yourself, I don't need to see your face. I just want to see the utensils and the tools, and I'll show you what that video can look like in a bit. And then you do your second part, which is the graph. You're going to now answer me these 5 questions. So can you read us the questions, please? How about Daisy? What are the 4 questions I want you to answer based on your video?
What predator do you feel was best adapted to the environment in which it lives? Why? Support your claim with evidence. What prey species was best adapted to surviving in the environment in which it lives? Why? Support your claim with evidence. Did any of the populations disappear during the course of your activity? Which? Support your claim with evidence. And how does this lab simulate the process of natural selection? Explain using evidence from your activity.
Okay, so any questions about the assignment? What are the pieces of this assignment, guys? What are the things I'm asking you to do? Who can summarize that for me?
Wait, I couldn't see it. Like, you want us to graph our results?
Yeah. So first, let me show you guys the instructional video of how to do it, Vivian, and then I'll show you guys how to graph. Okay, so check it out. At the bottom here, I included a video of me doing it, so you can see what I am asking you guys to do. Okay. So here's the short little video. It's about 3 minutes long, and I won't play the whole thing because again, you can watch it at home. But hi guys. So can you guys hear me? Natural selection simulation at home.
Yeah.
Can you guys? Okay. Okay. Use the following utensils: knife, fork, and a spoon, and these will be simulating the predators for this activity. And then, depending on what you have at home, I need you to use any three different supplies you have lying around home. So I use some black beans, some dried pasta noodles, and some little pom-pom balls. So what you're going to do, like it says in my instructions, you're going to time yourself for 30 seconds per trial. You're going to do 5 different trials. In each trial, you're going to use just one utensil. So I'll begin and I'll use the knife, for example. So this will be my first predator for this demonstration. And what we're going to do is we're going to see in those 30 seconds how many of each different prey item I can capture. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix them all together here. If you have a bowl or something to put this in, that might be a little easier. But for me, I'm going to just purposely make it kind of difficult for myself just to demonstrate how you can do this. Okay. Using the data sheet, you're going to indicate which of your utensil predators you're using. So I'm going to indicate on the data sheet trial 1, I'm using a knife. And I initially recorded on my worksheet, or you're going to do this, how many beans you used, how many pastas you used, and how many pom-poms you used. That way you can keep track of the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started recording 30 seconds, and I'm going to try to see how many of these prey items I can get with this knife. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to record starting now, and I'm going to pick. Okay, so there's the one bean. Okay, so I'll pause it there because I think you guys can watch that video on your own. So let me go back to the assignment. So to clarify the instructions, there's 3 things you're doing here. Okay, and I put that at the bottom. So the first thing is you're taking a video like the one I just did, and it shouldn't take you that long to do it. And you can even just send me like the highlight reel. I don't need to see literally you doing this the whole time. Okay, you can just send me like a short little video. I just want proof that you actually did it and that you're not just sending me like some old assignment. Okay, I want to make sure that you're actually doing this. So you're going to choose 3 utensils, any 3 prey items, any 3 predator items as demonstrated by utensils. The second part of the assignment is the graph itself. And for the graph, you're going to graph the results. So this was the graph that this was the data that I started capturing, okay? So once I have all my results done, what type of graph do you guys think we could come up with? Here, let's do this together, actually. Maybe that'll help. So I will pull up a, let's do a whiteboard. And I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Who can actually, Melissa, would you mind? What kind of graph do you think we could use to best represent this simulation?
I want to say bar graph.
Bar graph? Okay, so what am I going to put on my X and Y axis? What would go, let's start with the X. What would you put along the X? So here's my X.
The number of food. Oh, no. Wait.
Can I ask Melissa, in case people have a question, why do you say a bar and not a line graph? So Melissa's saying that we're going to do a bar graph. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with Melissa. And if you don't, just, okay, good. So Cynthia says bar graph. What do you think, Thanos? What do you think, Jaime? What do you think, Felipe? Bar graph or line graph? So thumbs up if you agree. Daisy agrees. What do you think, Vanessa? Bar graph or line graph?
I think a bar graph's good. I'm not sure what a line graph is.
Oh, okay. So a bar graph, and I'm just going to make this up, okay? Because I'm gonna let you do the assignment. But a bar graph is something like this, right? Where we have, right? This is a bar graph. Okay. Have we done a bar graph in class before, guys?
Yes.
We have. Yes, we have.
We did it with the trades.
Thank you. Yeah, we did it with the trades.
Everyone except me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were absent that week. However, guys, a line graph is different. So let me show you what a line graph is. A line graph, where's my drawing? Okay. A line graph is something like this that represents the change in something over time, but only of one variable over time. So if I wanted to know, for example, how tall I've gotten since school left, right? This could be, Y could be time, and X could be height, right? So you could record, you know, I was at 6 foot, you know, and then here I'm 6'5", I wish, and then here I'm 7 feet, right? And then this could be day 1, day 5, day 10. Does that make sense, guys? This is called a bar graph. Thumbs up if this makes sense. Okay, good. So, but to indicate or to clarify that you're not doing this. This is not what you're doing. Can anyone tell us why we're not doing this kind of graph and why we are doing, like Melissa said, a bar graph? Why are we doing a bar graph instead of a line graph? Anyone? Why are we doing a bar graph and not a line graph?
Because we're tracking multiple variables.
Thank you. That's it. It's because we're looking at multiple things. So what things would I put on my X here? What would go on my X and what would go on my Y?
Predators would go on X.
Okay, so we'll put predators. And what were the predators that I'm asking you to use for this, guys? What are they? What were the predators?
Spoon, fork, and
Yeah, so spoon, fork, and I'm not sure if that looks like a knife or not, but, and a knife, right? So by the time we finish this, and what are we putting on the Y, guys? What goes on the Y? What's going on the Y?
The prey.
The prey, right? So we're going to put our prey here, and we want to know numbers of them, right? So what this is going to end up looking like, similar to your trait bar graph, is you're going to have different numbers, right? Represented by different bars. Okay, so that's what a bar graph is. So 3 assignments. The first one is you're going to record yourself similar to my video, just a short little snippet of you actually doing it, okay? Because I want to make sure that you're doing it and not using like a past assignment or something similar. So just a short little video of you demonstrating what 3 predator utensils you used, spoon, fork, knife, and whatever 3 items you use. And then just briefly do it. I don't need to see the whole thing, okay? I'm not going to watch the whole thing. So just show me it could even be a picture, all right? Whatever. So that's the first assignment, is the video. The second part is this graph. If you want to do it on a whiteboard like this and screenshot it and send me a picture, I'm cool with it. If you want to do it on graph paper and take a picture of it, fine. If you want to draw it on your phone, send it to me on Schoology. Either way is fine. Is the graph assignment understood? Thumbs up if you get the graph assignment.
I have a question about it.
Go ahead, Daisy.
So like when we're recording the information, are we doing like all of the praise together or are we separating them?
Great question. Great question. You're going to mix them all together, Daisy. And the reason you're going to mix them all together is because, let's go back to my instructions. The reason I want you to mix them all together is because, like you read in the questions, we want to know which prey species is best adapted. Okay, so for example, let's say that using my knife, I'm not able to capture not one single bean. Would you say that that prey species is adapted or not adapted?
Not adapted.
Why is that? Because it's being, if it's not being caught, isn't it surviving? Because we're trying, yeah, it's the other way around. We're trying to demonstrate which one can survive here, which one can avoid being captured as food. Does that make a little more sense?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get you, or what you're going to try to prove to me, is which predator is the best at capturing their food and which prey is the best at evading being eaten by you, the fork, the spoon, or the knife. thumbs up if you get me, or speak up if you have a question, because you guys don't have your cameras on and I can't see your faces. So if you have a question, you can type it up. You can send me a thumbs up, or you can message me. You know, I'm always available to talk, guys. So please. So again, 3-part assignment. First part, just a quick little video. Again, I don't want to see the whole thing. Just a quick little picture, a video. Second part, do me a little graph, bar, not line graph, of what we just did. And the third question is probably the easiest one. It's just answering these 4 questions. So this assignment shouldn't take you as long as researching an article and making a PowerPoint. I don't think this will take you that long at all. I was able to do that video in a few minutes, and then graphing it out. You saw how quickly that was, right? All I needed was the numbers, and then third part is answering these questions. How do we feel about this assignment? Thumbs up if you get it. If you have questions, ask them now, please. Okay, so it looks like most people are giving me a thumbs up. Thanos, Jaime. Okay, Thanos, yes. Jaime, how do you feel? Thumbs up if you're good. Christian, Noemi, Sydney, how do you guys feel about this? Okay, Christian, thumbs up. Noemi, thumbs up. And Sydney,
Wait,
two thumbs up. Yes, go ahead.
Skills, we just do it 5 times for whichever utensil?
Yeah, for every utensil. And the reason I'm asking, you can do 3 trials, you can do 5 trials, you can do 20 trials, Daisy. If anything, the more trials you get, remember this is like probability, right? That you're just basically making predictions. So you can do a minimum 5 trials, but you can do as many as you want, because the results you'll find a trend. You're going to find the trend that some prey are very well adapted, meaning they are not caught as often, right? So like, for example, if you're using the knife like me and your prey is beans, and in all 5 trials, I'm not able to capture 1 bean, that means that that prey is very well adapted and is not being captured. Does that make sense, Daisy?
Yeah, so then for the bar graph, are we just we're graphing one of the trials?
No,
or-
you're going to have to do, great question. I'm glad you asked that. You're going to have to map all, you're going to have to put all your data together. So it's going to be for each, did I throw my drawing away? For each utensil you use, so let's say you use the knife 3 times, you're going to show me 3 different bar graphs for that knife.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah, so it's now good question. It's not going to be one single graph, because you're doing multiple trials. So you could do this a couple of ways. You could do them as separate graphs, or you can just combine all your data onto one graph. But it'll mean the same thing, however you want to do it. So if you have any more specific questions about that, please just reach out to me. I can do a one-on-one tutoring, and I can actually help you draw it here on Zoom. So if you want to show me your data one day, guys, pull up the data. I'll help you sketch it with you. I'm very, very willing to help. I don't want you to be confused on this assignment. And again, I'm trying to make this easier than having you guys research an article. So does this sound okay? Is this easier than doing an article, guys? Because I meant it to be easier. Is this good? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so now that I'm getting thumbs up from everyone, that's the last assignment. And after you do that, as of May 22nd, you're done with evolution, okay? So let's go ahead and wrap up, because I don't want to stick on those assignments that are not due till next week anyway. I want to talk about where we are. Okay, so again, I just covered the last assignments. The quiz for evolution I had posted for next week, but again, given that I know you guys were studying a lot for your AP test yesterday, I'm probably going to push every assignment back a couple of days. So for those of you that are watching this video on YouTube, please don't stress about the dates. I already submitted your grades, and it did not include anything from this week, so do not worry, please. I'm still downloading your presentations. I'm still getting them, so don't think that your grade's going to be affected in any way, okay? But as of this week, whatever I start looking at now will be for the last report card, okay? So again, the quiz, I know I put the date of May 20th, but I'm going to push that back, like I said, because I know you guys have been studying a lot. So what we're going to do today with the remaining minutes I have, I want to talk about natural selection. So for those of you who haven't been attending class recently, we started off this module by looking at this brain pop video on natural selection. And then on Monday, we watched a TED Talk video on how eyes evolved. And today what I wanted to do is read this little comic book strip. We're going to read this in Zoom groups, and there are some discussion questions about it, but let me set it up for you, okay, before you read. Let me show you something, okay, because I want to put this into context. What we're learning about, remember, is natural selection, okay? So where we left off on Monday, we were talking about a bunch of influential people that helped Darwin to come up with his idea for how species could evolve. But again, this didn't come just like that. It took a lot of brilliant minds, and some of them were not even biologists. Some of them were geologists. Some of them were actually mathematicians. Some of them were poets. And actually this guy here, Malthus, he was an economist. So there's a lot of people. So what natural selection is, we're going to talk about. And actually, I'm going to just show you a picture to give you, here, this will be my introduction to the article. Can you read me this, please? How about April? Can you read us what this whole slide says, and let me explain it and see if you guys understand it. April, do you have a mic? April, do you have a mic? How about Vanessa? Can you read us this slide, please? Vanessa? Uh-oh. Am I losing people here?
I could read it.
Okay, go ahead, Cynthia.
Natural selection causes evolution to occur. Natural selection, that the means, is how species evolve over time, the end, because it acts as existing variations.
Yeah, and the reason I put that in parentheses, guys, the means and the end, natural selection and evolution are often confused by people. It's not the same thing. Okay, that's why I even put here, Cynthia, I put it in italics. It causes the evolution. And actually, it's only one of the way that evolution occurs. This is not the only way evolution occurs, and that's actually what we're going to talk about in chapter 11. Chapter 10 is all about natural selection because it's like the most famous understanding of how evolution occurs, but it's not the only one, right? There's a reason why peacocks have big feathers and the females don't. There's a reason why some baboons have very brightly colored faces and others do not. That's not natural selection. That's different. So we're dedicating chapter 10 to this idea of natural selection because it is one of the way that evolution occurs. And so the end result, the thing we're trying to get to in this chapter is how evolution occurs. And the how is what I'm referring to as the means. I guess I should have put the how. The how. Let me change that. It's the how, okay? And evolution would be the what. It's what occurs, okay? So in this little cartoon, Cynthia, can you explain to me, first of all, how this little silly cartoon is demonstrating natural selection? Or you want to take a crack at it?
Wait, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So looking at this little drawing here with these beavers, so there's two beavers. One of them is saying, now that's what I'm talking about. My question is, how does this drawing illustrate what I'm talking about in terms of natural selection? Like, what's going on here in this drawing?
One of the beavers are using a better technique to cutting down the tree.
What is that technique? What's he using?
He's using the chainsaw instead of his teeth.
Mm-hmm. And anything unusual about that chainsaw, Cynthia?
Is out of his hand?
It's actually not out of his hand. It is his hand. So this is actually connecting to genetics, right? I know it's made up, obviously, but the point is that this beaver that you just said, he has a variation. He has a variation, in this case, a mutation, where his hand is now a chainsaw. And so how does this demonstrate natural selection, though? Cynthia, or anyone else? How does this demonstrate natural selection? What's going on in this drawing?
I think he's more fit, like, to survive because of the fact that he can, like, destroy the, like, tree faster because he
Yeah,
has.
very, very good, Vanessa. And so fitness is something that we've already looked at in that brain pop video. For those of you guys who missed it, it's posted in the assignment folder. Fit, or fitness, like Vanessa said, is something very important to understanding what natural selection is. And so you got it, Vanessa. This beaver, in terms of natural selection, would be the more fit. And so the reason we also call it natural selection is because nature, or the environment, is selecting or deciding which variation is more fit. Okay, so I'm just kind of rephrasing what Vanessa said. And these are the 5 principles of natural selection that we're going to talk about, but not right now, because what I want to do with you guys is, now that you looked at that little cartoon, I want us to read a comic strip, or actually just read and look at a comic strip that kind of talks about the same thing. And I want to see if you guys are able to understand what natural selection is a little bit easier by looking at this comic strip. Okay, so in your assignment folder, I put a comic strip article for you to read. It's a little PDF. Okay, so once you're in your groups, just go ahead and read it together, ask questions about it, and then at the end there are 4 discussion questions about what's going on in terms of natural selection. Okay, so let me go back here. It didn't download, so you can just click on it here. It goes to your download window, and here is the comic book. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put you into groups, let you guys read the comic book, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll end class there. Sound good? Sound good, guys? All right, cool. Here we go. So we'll do 3 groups. I'd rather have less groups. Okay, so here we go. So you're going to get an invite from me, and I'll see you in your groups. All right.
What's up, mister?
Hey. So who's going to read us the comic book?
Sydney's sure.
All right, cool. There it is. Okay, so maybe click on it. Click on the PDF, Sydney. Oh, you know what? Go back. Go back, Sydney. Click on the actual. There you go. Click on that. Yeah. And then where's your download box? It went to your download file. All right, here it comes. All right, cool. So just let everyone read that with you, Sydney, and then I'll be back when you're done. Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. So who's sharing the comic book with us?
Melissa.
Okay. All right, cool. So go ahead and click on the PDF attachment, Melissa. And there it is. Cool. Oh my gosh. Zoom in. Ooh. Can you guys read that okay? Oh yeah, I think so. I think so. If you go like a box at a time, Melissa, you guys should be good. Okay. So it's a funny little story, but it's kind of cute. It explains natural selection. So go ahead and read it together, and then we'll talk at the end. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. Hey guys. So who's sharing the comic book with us?
I think we've decided to just read it on our own.
Oh, okay. So thumbs up if you guys are all reading it on your own, because we're going to talk about it. Okay, Cynthia, good. Thanos, good. Alexa, good. Vivian, you got the comic book strip in front of you? Okay, cool. All right. So okay, I'll be back. I'll let you guys do your thing, and then at the end we'll discuss. Okay. So thanks, guys. I'll be back.
This
Oh God.
Mel's gambit pays off, and our original strong, loud calling Mel is out of luck. Last chance for you special ladies. Need a really great guy. Oh, forget it. I'm almost there. Keep chirping, you big, juicy bezo. Fates, don't fail me now. Oh, why did his voice get squeaky? So in this case, the sneakier Mel gets to mate, and the singing, attractive Mel gets eaten by that. See, survival of the fittest isn't necessarily about being the toughest, fastest, or most attractive. It's actually about surviving past the genes and encoding behaviors onto offspring. Maybe your sneakier kids will inherit the sneaky genes and in turn use sneaky behavior like their father. Why waste why waste our energy singing when someone else can do it for us? I'm no chump. Replace chump with simp. Of course, can help to increase an organism's chance of living long enough to reproduce. Rar. Treat. But so much. But reproduction and the passing on of genes are most important in my terms of evolution, and there are many ways an individual can get their genes into the next generation. I'm just gonna have like dreams of the crickets. Calling is still a good strategy for male crickets to increase their chance of mating. Females are attracted to calling males, and there won't always be sneakers and predators around to derail the callers. Oh, you're so hot with your singing. Oh, I know. And if they all get used to the silent sneaker strategy, then no females would be attracted at all, and the males would have some long, lonely nights. Come on, someone, start calling. Why don't you? Nah. Well, me neither. Fine. Fine. Grr. So we end up with a variety of successful mating strategies. That's how natural selection works. I still have like my mind on that that one panel. It's like, you had me with your beautiful. There is no one true ultimate survival strategy. A successful strategy is whatever gets the job done. Chirp, chirp. That chirping is really beautiful, Wanda. Where did she go? Chirp, chirp. Oops.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He's got
Oh no.
a cricket.
Extra cricket.
Like birds or people. The male cricket's song is made by scraping one wing across another, sort of like a violin bow scraping across a string. Crickets chirp more often if it's hotter. I thought I read that as a In fact, it's possible to estimate the temperature based on the frequency of cricket chirp. How about this heat? Am I right, ladies?
Wow. Great job, Vanessa. So sorry, I jumped in kind of late, but obviously Vanessa stole the show with her impersonations and different cricket voices. So now that you guys have had a chance to read it and had it acted out for you, let's go over these questions one at a time. So Christian, would you mind reading us that first one?
When it comes to crickets, what does fitness mean?
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Isn't it like the same thing? Like how like their survival?
And in this case, for number two, can you read us number two, Christian? In this case, what does that mean? Can you read us number two first?
Is calling good or bad for cricket's fitness?
Mm-hmm. Please explain.
I would say it's good because it attracts more crickets.
What do you think, Vanessa?
I think it depends like on which is like just I don't think there's a definite answer, but whatever like helps them like get a mate to pass on their genes is like the more beneficial.
What about in the example about the bat? Was it a good or bad?
It wasn't portrayed as a good thing because like the sneaker cricket like stole the singing cricket's girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in this case, it's kind of a bad trait.
Yeah, so but like you said, Vanessa, it does kind of depend, right? Very good. And how about number three? How about Felipe?
Give some examples of selection at work in the cricket story. So, as I said before, we could use like how the sneaker crickets are more beneficial because they'll just steal their mates when the actual better cricket is trying to attract them. There's certain traits that might attract them also, like I said, they have no bugs or, cricket
Any
stuff.
okay? Any other examples, guys?
Yeah, no insects.
That the loudest tend to attract more prey, meaning that they're most likely to be eaten by like predators.
Exactly, kind of like how Vanessa said. So in that case, that was not really a good trait to have. So would we say that the trait of singing for this case was selected for, meaning it was a good thing, or was it selected against, meaning it was a bad thing?
Again.
But didn't they get eaten?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, wait,
we would say that it got selected against, meaning it was not a good thing.
Yeah.
But again, this is just obviously a little made-up comic book with sexy crickets and so. But you get it. Okay, number four, please. How about Jaime? Can you read us four?
How does selection favor calling? How does selection favor not calling?
Okay, so I'll let you guys discuss that, and I'm gonna jump around group to group, and then we're gonna go ahead and end soon. Okay, but great job, Vanessa.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right.
Hey guys, did we get a chance to read the entire comic?
Yeah.
Okay, so which question are we on? Are we on the discussion questions yet?
We're about to go over them right now.
Okay. Here, let me share my screen with you, Daisy, because I'd like us to look at them together. So let's go ahead and, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, can you read us the first question, please, Daisy?
When it comes to crickets, what does fitness mean?
Okay, so what do you think, according to this little comic?
I mean, I would assume that fitness means being able to mate and pass on your genes.
Okay, good. So similar to what we were talking about in class from the notes, right? How about number two? Can you read us, please, Noemi? Number two.
Is calling good or bad for cricket's fitness?
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think it's good in a way. Sometimes it's not good for that individual cricket because sometimes it benefits others.
In what way would you say that it's not good? Like how specifically is it benefiting others in this example?
Oh, like even though one cricket was calling a different cricket, it was bad for him because he didn't even get to mate with the other one, and it benefited the other cricket that wasn't even calling someone.
Good, good. And how about number 3? Can you read us number 3, Melissa?
Give some examples of selection at work in this cricket story.
And so remember, like I said, the reason we call it natural selection, guys, is because it's the environment or the conditions in the environment that select for a particular trait. So what would be some examples, Melissa, of selection in this comic? Need some help?
Yeah, I'm looking back at the article.
Oh, okay. 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 Okay, so for the sake of time, guys, I'm going to jump into my last group. I have one more group to check in, so please make sure you finish talking about the last 2 questions, Melissa, and we'll see you guys when I break up the groups, okay?
Great.
All right, did we get a chance to read the comic individually, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, and have we started answering the questions yet?
Yes.
Okay, which question are we on?
Round 4.
Number 4? Okay, can you read us number 4, Thanos, and let's discuss it together, and then we're going to go ahead and end class here.
Okay. How does selection favor calling? How does selection favor not calling? Selection favors calling because it's able to attract mates, and it doesn't favor not calling. It favors not calling because it also attracts predators.
Right, right. Yeah, like we saw the little bat ate the poor little guy, right? So very good, very good. So you know, obviously a little silly, you know, made up comic book about crickets and everything, but it illustrates a good point, right? And that point was what? What point was this article trying to make?
I think one point is that there's not actually true like fittest like species. Some traits are just some features or traits can be like good and bad at the same time.
Exactly, right. And that's what question number 2 was all about, because we saw that chirping, like Thanos just said, sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. It was good for getting mates, but it was also bad because it got you eaten, right? So obviously just a silly little strip, but it did make sense. Okay, so very good job, guys. Let me go ahead and end all the groups though, so we can get back together and talk about it, and then we'll dismiss class. Okay, thank you, guys. All right, so everyone is popping back in eventually, it looks like. So I went around to all the groups. Everyone read the article. Some people acted it out, which was awesome to watch. So if you're rewatching this, please make sure you check out the entire video. But the comic book, it illustrated a really good point, and I went around to all groups and everyone had similar interpretation of it, which is that fitness isn't necessarily just like one thing, right? It depends. It depends on the environment, and that's just it. That's why we call it natural selection, because the environment, which changes, is what determines what trait is good then and there. So when we get back on Friday, let me go back to Schoology. On Friday, what we're going to do is, now that we've had a chance to look at this comic book article, don't worry about this one. This one is for next week, okay? But now that we've done this little assignment or this little reading article, on Friday, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the notes and we'll talk about what are referred to as the 5 principles of natural selection. And I put them in red here, so if you want to get a head start on the notes, these are words that were mentioned in the article, like, you know, fitness, and we talked about variation and adaptation, but I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to help you understand what all of this means in terms of a species evolving. And then next week, when we're on chapter 11, we're going to talk about the fact that there's many ways that species evolve, not just natural selection. Okay, so we'll go ahead and end there. If you have any more questions for me about the discussion board or the natural selection simulation activity with utensils, please message me, let me know. I'll be glad to help anyone out. And also, I want to accommodate. So if you guys think you can't do it for whatever reason, just hit me up, and I'll see what I can do for you. Okay. Any other questions about what we've talked about today? Thumbs up if we're good. Well, can someone tell me before we end, what did we learn today?
Crickets are sly insects.
Crickets are sly. Yeah, so what was the big takeaway for you from that article, Felipe?
I don't know that, like, how crickets attract mates, and how there's crickets that like steal the mates. You know, cricket activities. How bats could seek out crickets since they're more louder, which could be beneficial and negative, since, you know,
Yeah, exactly,
they'd be
right.
more
So
prone to predators.
exactly how some traits that animals or crickets in this case have are good and can be bad. And again, this is a perfect segue into ecology, which we're going to be on next week, and we're going to end the year with ecology. And we're going to be talking a lot about animals and a lot about environment and a lot about how the environment shapes a particular species. Okay, so good job today, guys. It was fun. Hopefully you guys understood the assignments, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And again, don't worry about the assignments that I put for this week. I'm going to push them all back because of AP testing. Okay, so I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye, guys.
Bye, Mr.
Bye, Mr.